Take it away.
All right, thank you. All right, guys, I've been getting a ton of questions on Synrgy180 since we showed it at Ursa and FIBO, which is great. We'll try to get you up to speed on everything. We're going to talk about market insights. I'm going to go pretty quickly through this because we covered it pre-show a couple months ago, so we should be up to speed on that. I'll talk about some different product information for you. We'll get to some high-level how to order this and different product options you're going to see on the product, and then we'll get into what the marketing launch plan is going to be for this. So jumping right in to the market insights. Next slide, please, Heather. We talked about this before, right? We're losing ground to competitors who have better products that currently consist of smaller footprints, at more storage capabilities for accessories in terms of capacity and variety of accessories. And they have more efficient designs, which are allowing them to provide solutions at a lower price point. So I'm sure this is things you've all seen in the field, and this is why we're coming out with the Synrgy180 product. In the club market, you can see a couple of our big customers that have put in solutions that are not Life Fitness solutions. So Gold's Gym put in an active rig, Anytime put in a torque rig. So there's a need for it in the club market, as well as in the next slide, talks to the hospitality, there we go, hospitality market. So we have the Westin there, we have all of the Life Fitness cardio, but they put a TRX rig in the facility, and same story with the Hilton. So there's a need for this in the hospitality market as well. So go to the next slide. This just goes through the competition, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, active or gym racks. Go to the next slide, Heather. We can go through these pretty quick. TRX, which is pretty much a knockoff of active. The next competitor I'm sure you've all seen in there is Torque. They're big in the Anytime Fitnesses here domestically. Next competitor I'm sure you've all seen is Escape. These are more popular internationally than domestically, but Escape is a big competitor for us in that market. Queen-X and Precor, more of a global competitor now since they were acquired by Precor, but in the higher end of the price point. And then last one is Outrace, which is actually owned by Technogym. We haven't seen a lot of that internationally. We have seen them, some customers domestically, but they're a lot more of a threat internationally. So next slide talks about where we really see all the competitors in this area. We kind of left, there's some animation here too, Heather, so go ahead and click. Kind of see all those competitors into two groups: low aesthetics, lower price point, higher aesthetics and a higher price point. And we think there's a great opportunity for us with much better aesthetics, a slightly higher price point than some of those competitors we're seeing here domestically. So the next slide, we talked about there's a market need for this, and there's a shift in the market going from center room solutions to wall solutions. So Synrgy180 is really a center room solution, and there's a shift to the wall solution. So there is a shift. Our customers are shifting with the market, and we need to react. Next slide. So we'll jump into the product. At Ursa, we saw the product. I got a ton of great feedback from customers that think it looks great. It's exactly what they've been asking for. The next slide shows the unit we actually had at FIBO, pretty much the same exact rig. Different accessories on the FIBO product because we have different accessories internationally than what we have domestically. On the side, the right here, you can see core bags. That's one of those accessories that we have internationally, but we don't have domestically. But it points out a good thing in our thought process with this is we wanted to make sure we accommodated Life Fitness accessories, but we also want to accommodate accessories beyond just what we're offering today. Think about things we may offer in the future, but also things that our customers might want to buy outside of Life Fitness and try to accommodate them as best we can as well. So the next slide. 3 key takeaways we talked about at the shows, before the shows, was size. So it's got a really small footprint, yet it's expandable. So you can go from just a single training bay to as many as you'd like and make this as big a unit as you want. 2 is accessory capability, both in terms of quantity of accessories. It can hold a lot or it can hold a little, depends how you configure it. And it can hold a lot of different varieties for whatever our customers want. And then the last key product takeaway is we're incorporating a lot of on-trend training options. So if people want to do suspension training, rope training, boxing, power pivot, wall ball, band training, pull-ups on product, we're accommodating all those different options as well. Next slide. So as you talked about, it's highly configurable. So you can order just a core unit, and you have a very small unit to maybe put in a small studio space, or you can add additional sections on, as many as you like, and make it as big as you'd like. We also have a ton of different product options. So you can configure the type of shelf as well as the quantity of shelves that you want in the rig. You can pick different chin-up bar styles. We have a lot of different side storage options and a lot of different exercise or frame options to add, like we talked about with the wall ball, rope pull, boxing. So you can really configure this to whatever the customer wants to do. Next slide. So some things we've actually done with our design that's different from the competitor is we've incorporated some features into the side frames. So most everybody can do body weight training on their side frames. We've incorporated some band storage as well as some band tie-off points on the frame itself to make it a little bit more functional than just having a frame with no exercise value to it. We have had a lot of different holes added to this so that you can adjust it up and down to accommodate whatever the customer may want in terms of configurable. But we've also tried to minimize the number of holes so it doesn't look, you know, like somebody just put a bunch of random holes in there. So we try to optimize that as best we can. And then we have some foot covers to help with the aesthetics, help with cleaning, and to cover up those floor anchors, because this is a required bolt-to-floor product. These foot covers will help cover up those anchors and keep it looking very high end. Next slide. So with that, just like Synrgy180, we're going to be creating some packages with Synrgy180 to help make this a little bit easier to sell to our customers and have a good starting point to maybe tweak this as we go forward. The first 3 packages we're coming out with are going to correlate to the modules that we're going to be launching. Been working with Greg Niederlander to make sure our packages correlate to the modules that he wants to incorporate as well. So the first module or package is going to be S180 multi-4. The 4 stands for 4 training bays. And the way this is being structured is there's 4 people going to be doing the same exercise on the product. So those 4 bays are just the same bay repeated 4 times. So you're going to have 4 people doing the same exercise on the product, 4 people doing different or the same exercise off the product. So 2 different exercises that the coach has to keep track of. So from a coaching difficulty standpoint, it's a level 1, which is a fairly easy thing to coach. The other package we're coming out with is a mix 3. 3 stands for 3 training bays, and this has the most variety. So each training space is in front of the leg, and each leg has a different exercise modality. So you might have a wall ball, a rope pull, boxing, power pivot, and there's 4 people doing different exercises on the product and 4 people doing the same exercise off the product. So from a coaching perspective, this is, you know, quite a bit harder to coach because you have 5 different exercises going on. And then there's one more package. Oops, one more time. Called a dual 4. Go ahead and click one more time, Heather.
If I click once more, John, it goes to the next slide.
Okay, maybe there's something wrong with the animation, but there's a dual 4. Basically what the next package is 2 different 2-bay units. There we go. 2 different 2-bay units where people are going to be paired up. So you have 2 people doing the same exact product, on-product exercise on one rig, and 2 other people doing different exercises, but the same on the other rig. And then 4 people off the products doing the same exercise. So this is in the coaching difficulty perspective. It's in the middle, as it has 3 exercises they're trying to coach, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. Go ahead to the next one. So we're going to talk about how to order this because we're not going to have all of our assets ready when this is ready to order. So I kind of want to walk you through how to order it just a little bit. So to order a Synrgy180 is similar to Synrgy360 today in that you have to order multiple different SKUs or items to build a single unit. So you're going to have to order a core, you're going to order some ads, maybe one, maybe two, maybe three, depends on how big you want it. And then if you want side storage, you have to order the side SKU as well. So for this example here on the page, there's 4 different SKUs. One core, which you always have to have one core. He has 2 ads and 1 side storage SKU. So we'll go to the next slide. We'll talk about how to order the core and the ad. These are exact same options. The only difference is the number of side frames. So the core has 2 side frames and the ad has 1, but the product options are exactly the same. So go to the next slide. The first question you're going to be asked, step 1 and step 2, is, do you want a stability ball storage in the top rear of the rig? Yes or no? And if you do, great. If you don't, that's fine. Then you're going to be asked, number 2 is, how many chin, or what chin option would you like? Do you want a suspension chin, a multi-grip chin, or a rock ball chin? And we'll get into the details of what those are in the ordering guide, but just so you know, there's 3 different chin options available. The next slide will show you steps 3 and 4. So we have frame options. There's a bottom frame option. Do you want a rope pull, or do you want a battle rope anchor on the bottom, or a power pivot on the bottom? You get 2 options there. But there's also options in the top of the frame. So do you want a rope pull, a wall ball target, or a boxing target in the top of the frame? You can pick any of them, or you can pick none. It's up to you. And lastly is shelf, or step 5 is the shelf options. This is where it gets a little bit more complicated. You have 5 different shelf positions, and you have 7 different shelf options. And you don't have to put a shelf in each one of the 5 positions. You can put 3 shelves in there if you'd like. It's up to you. It's up to the customer what they want. The challenging part is some of the shelf options take up more than 1 position. So if you look at the stall bar there in the bottom right of the screen, it takes up all shelf positions. So you only get a stall bar. Same is true for the Viper roller storage with mat. That takes up all of them. The Viper storage takes up 4 positions. You can still put a shelf on the 5th topmost position. And the bowl suit, it takes up 2 positions. So you have to understand that. We'll try to make that as clear as we can with the rules. And we're going to try to come up with some type of configurator to help you with that. It's a little bit complex, but it's something I think everybody will be able to understand and handle pretty well. So go ahead, go to the next slide. So that's really it for the core and the ad. Then the side storage is pretty simple. Go ahead and click to the next one. So when you order the side storage SKU, if your customer wants that, it's kind of exactly the same as the shelves. We have 8 options, and you can get different options, but again, some of these interfere with other ones. So if you get a mat storage, for example, you can't really fit anything else there because the mat's going to take up all 5 positions. So we'll make those clear in the ordering guide. I just want you to be aware that there are some limitations there, but you really can configure this any way you want. Go to the next slide. So I want to show you some of the options. Not all the options I had pictures of are defined. So some of these are from the show, some of these are from prototypes, some of these are engineering 3D models. But go ahead, we'll just go through these quickly to give you an idea of what they're going to be. This is just an example of some of the details that we're going to provide you on the ordering guide. So we're going to try to provide all the information you need to make a good decision. So what is the accessory capability for storage? You know, if you want to put medicine balls on a dual rail, how many medicine balls will it hold? How many wall balls? How many stability balls? And give you all that detail. Also give you the size. Obviously, that's important for you, but also where does this fit? Where are the available positions? And in this one, you can see it's available for all 5 positions. It doesn't interfere with anything else. So that's just an example. We'll provide that detail for all the different options. Then the next slide there. So this is just an image of what the dual rail shelf will look like. This is an image we had at the 2 shows. Go to the next slide. This is the dumbbell shelf. You should have seen this at URSA if you're able to attend, or FIBO. Go to the next slide. The accessory shelf. So this is your best all-around general purpose shelf. It can hold a variety of different things. We have the Bosu Plus shelf, so it's a Bosu on one side plus a small accessory tray on the other side to put kettlebells, sand bells, wall balls, or not a wall ball, but med balls if you'd like. The next slide. Viper or foam roller vertical storage. So pretty self-explanatory. Some people are familiar with Vipers, some not. Again, that's an accessory that we don't offer at Life Fitness, but some of our customers are using those, so we want to make sure we can accommodate those as best we can. Next slide. Stall bars, you can see what they look like. They take the position of every shelf. The next one gets into, okay, go ahead, next slide. Gets into our chin options as well as our stability ball and what they're going to look like. And hopefully you're able to see this at FIBO and URSA. This is a picture from URSA. You can see it in the back. There's a stability ball storage element where you can store up to 2 different stability balls. There's a TRX attachment right there in the middle, so it's a custom strap, just like TRX, made to fit the Synrgy180 rig. And then you can see an image of the suspension chin there as well. Next slide. So frame options, I don't have pictures of all of these, but we'll go show you some of these, what they're going to look like. Wall ball there, that was at the shows, that look great. When you do a wall ball, you also have to remember you need a place for the wall ball. So one popular thing you're going to probably order with the wall ball is dual rail side storage to put at least two wall balls on that side storage, because you need that obviously if you're going to train on the wall ball target. Next one is going to be the rope pole. So this is a new rope pole that we're launching. It's in a partnership with a company called Marpo. If you're not familiar with Marpo, they've been doing rope pull machines forever. They're considered the leader in the industry. It has an adjustable feature on it, so there's 5 different levels of adjustability. It's something that we've received a lot of good feedback on this unit from our customers. Next one is a power pivot integrated into the frame seamlessly. It doesn't interfere with anything. This bar actually is not removed from the unit. It'll always stay there, so it can be docked in this position vertically and simply undock it to use it. But the bar is no longer removable with this new design. Next slide. Next slide, please, Heather.
It's on the battle rope anchor slide. It might just be lagging a bit if you want to explain that one to us.
There we go. Okay, battle rope anchor, so just bolt onto the front of the unit, so similar to what we have in HD Elite. The battle rope anchor, pretty self-explanatory. Go to the next slide, please. In the side storage options, again, we have a lot of different options, 8 different options. And these options have a variety of different purposes. So right now, on the dual rail here, we're showing with wall balls, but we're also showing it with the core bags as well. So you can put a lot of different things on these shelves, and we'll call those out in the ordering guide as well. Accessory side storage, so it's a rubber over molded shelf on the side storage, similar to what we have on the SAR, the signature accessory rack that we launched last year with the same type of shelf. We have a mat storage on the side as well, which is similar to the SAR. And then we have this Bosu side storage, which you can store up to 5 Bosu balls on the side storages. Just order 5 of those shelves. Next one, Heather. So we'll get into the marketing launch plans. Go ahead, next slide. This is going to be a 2-phased staggered launch. So what is a staggered launch? We're not going to have all the assets ready right away when we launch this. So we're going to have minimal assets available now when we launch it, and then we'll get the rest of the assets ready in the next 2 to 3 months. So that's why that's what a staggered launch is. We'll do part now and part later. So why are we doing it? The reason is we want to start selling this as soon as possible. I can't tell you how many hundreds of emails I've had over the last month since the shows about, when can I start quoting this, John? So I know there's a lot of need out there. There's a lot of you that have been asking me questions and want to order it now and get quoted now. So that's why we're doing a staggered launch, so we can start doing that now and not wait another 2 or 3 months. And some of the reps ask me, can I wait until the full launch to start selling this? And I guess my question back is always, will your customers wait? A lot of the customers are wanting this. and we might be losing competitors if we wait. So it's up to you. I don't think that's probably going to be an option for you, unfortunately, but we'll try to make it as easy as we can here. Next slide. So a couple common questions we get after we have the initial announcement or the initial sneak peek like we did at first in Vivo is, what information is available now? When will we have more information? Where do I go to get this? And the common answer for all those is go to Nexus. Heather and I have been working pretty closely to make sure we keep Nexus updated with all the latest and greatest info. That's going to be the place you want to go. So go to the next slide. So key dates. So when are we going to have this orderable? When are we going to launch it? Our goal is to launch it this Friday, to make it orderable. I'm working with the team to make sure the bombs are all properly entered into the system. We're making sure it's tested properly. It's going to work. So our goal is to have it ready May 10th. I'll get into what we're going to have available. May 10th is the next slide, but for the Americas, it'll be May 10th. For international, it'll be launched in June and orderable in June, and then fully launched hopefully in July of this year, and then shipping from Ramsey and Hungary in August of this year. So the next slide. So what are we going to have ready when? Well, this Friday, we're hoping to have the ordering guide. I'll start at the top. We'll have it orderable, and that way you can get all the pricing that you need. It'll all be in the system ready to go. We're also going to have a product line spec ready to go by Friday, so you have that to reference. We'll have an ordering guide ready, so you know what rules you need to take into consideration when ordering this, what shelves affect other shelves, so you know exactly how to order this in the system. We're working on an Excel-based configurator, so it's not as nice as the one that we have for HD Athletics that JP Stockton launched, but something that's still pretty easy is going to help you configure this product a lot easier, and it will work with the ordering guide. And then we already launched out the new securing straight products form, which we all refer to that as the bolt to floor waivers. Those were launched a week or two ago, so you all should have those and be using those now. And then for 2D layouts, we have S2 as a placeholder. So the layout team knows, hey, if we have a request for Synrgy180, we'll just use an S2 as a placeholder, because physically it takes up the same amount of space. So I've been working with them. So those two things are already done, and the other four we'll have ready. And again, go to Nexus for all the latest and greatest info. So if something's not ready, we'll let you know on Nexus. We'll tell you it's not ready, but it will be, and this is when. So that's where you want to go to for all your latest and greatest. And then in July and August, you'll see we'll have all the assets ready for all of you to reference in July and August. So that'll have our full launch. So this Friday for the Americas, we'll have our soft launch, minimal assets, but you'll be able to go in, put a quote in for your customers, and in July and August, we'll have everything available for you. That's it for me. I know it's a lot of information.
We do have some questions, John.
Okay.
First one was around bolting into the wall or using a kickstand type option for Synrgy pieces. Is that ever going to happen, or is it always going to be the floor?
Right now, it's the floor. It's something we've been looking at. We've looked at walls now for quite a while. I know flooring has presented some challenges to certain people. Walls are even more varied and even more difficult. So we don't have any solutions other than bolt to floor at this point.
Okay. Will there be plate storage for the power pivot?
Yes, there'll be plate storage for the power pivot, and we'll touch on that in the ordering guide, but it's actually going to have a lot of different options. So you can bolt it into an existing shelf onto the side of the unit as a side storage option, as well as it can go on the floor by itself, standalone, if you'd like to.
Okay. Will the S2 solution remain as is, being a TRX storage solution only?
The S2, the long-term plan of the S2 is that it'll be replaced by the Synrgy180. So towards the end of this year, we're probably going to begin phasing out the S2.
Okay. that is all the questions I've got at this time. Thank you, John.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.